Marcus had only meant to pull the car to the curb for 30 seconds, long enough for Ms. Langford to finish her quiet phone call in the backseat. But the flashing blue lights exploded in the rearview mirror before he even shifted into park. The siren scream cut the night air, sharp enough to make the city block freeze. "Step out of the vehicle now," the officer barked, already gripping his holster. Marcus swallowed hard. "Officer, is something wrong?" I said out. Hands where I can see them." The tone had weight, the kind meant to shrink a man. He lifted his palms slowly. His heartbeat thudded inside his throat. Ms. Langford, hidden behind the tinted rear glass, stayed silent, as arranged. Her meetings required privacy. He was used to that. But the officer's eyes narrowed, drifting across Marcus's skin, his clothes, the luxury sedan. "Whose car is this?" he snapped. "My employer's. I'm her. Save it. You fit the description of someone seen casing the district tonight." Marcus's stomach dipped. Description. The word people like him heard right before everything went wrong. A gust of cold air swept across his face as the officer yanked open the door and forced him forward. His cheek hit the hood, metallic, cold. Pain shot down his jaw. "Officer, please." "You people always have an excuse." The word sliced deeper than the pressure on his wrists. And then, from the backseat, a soft click. The rear door began to open. Marcus didn't dare turn his head, but he felt the shift in the officer's body. Someone was stepping out, and everything was about to change. Marcus hadn't asked for trouble. He'd only asked the universe for a quiet shift. One smooth ride home from Ms. Langford after her late meeting. One more hour, then he could tuck his daughter into bed and hear about her day. That was all he wanted. But the universe had other plans. Or rather, Officer Carter Briggs did. The patrol car cut across 2 lanes and screeched behind the black sedan, lights blazing as if Marcus had committed a felony. He blinked at the mirror, startled by how fast the officer approached. "Man, what now?" Marcus whispered. Before he could breathe, Briggs was at the window, tapping hard with his flashlight. "Step out of the vehicle." Marcus lowered the window a crack. "Evening, officer. Is something?" "I said step out." Briggs's voice was clipped, coated with suspicion. Marcus forced a polite smile. "I can show you my license. I'm just parked for." "Out. Now." His stomach tightened. He glanced back at the tinted divider where Ms. Langford sat quietly. Their unspoken agreement was clear. She'd remain unseen unless necessary. Privacy was part of her world. Respect for that was part of his job. Marcus opened the door carefully, hands visible. The cold air wrapped around him. "Okay, officer. I'm coming out." Briggs stepped closer, eyes narrowed. "Whose car is this?" "My employer's. I'm her driver." Briggs smirked. "Of course you are." Marcus stiffened. "I can give you documentation." "You can give me trouble if you keep talking." Briggs circled him slowly, like he was inspecting stolen property. "What are you doing in this district? This isn't your usual area." "My route takes me wherever my employer needs to go." Briggs's eyebrows lifted mockingly. "Your employer, right?" Marcus swallowed. "Yes, sir." Behind him, the softest movement, a shift in weight, came from the backseat. Ms. Langford listening. Marcus prayed she'd stay quiet. This would only escalate if. "Hands on the hood," Briggs ordered. "For what?" Briggs leaned in close enough that Marcus felt warm breath against his ear. "Because you fit the description of someone seen casing businesses tonight." Marcus's jaw clenched. "Description?" "Sir, I've been driving all evening. You can check my hands on the hood." Marcus obeyed. His palms met the cold metal, a sharp burst of winter shooting up his arms. Briggs patted him down aggressively, not searching but punishing. A few pedestrians slowed, watching. "Officer," Marcus said gently, "you're making a mistake." Briggs gripped his wrist harder. "You people always think you know better." Marcus closed his eyes. The word stung, predictable, yet painful every time. A car door behind them clicked open. Briggs straightened. "Who's that?" Marcus didn't move. "My employer." Ms. Langford stepped out with controlled grace. Her charcoal business suit contrasted sharply with the dim yellow streetlight. "Officer, I need you to stop." Briggs frowned. Step back. You're interfering." "I'm not interfering. I'm informing you that this man works for me." Briggs barked a laugh. "Right. And I'm the mayor." She didn't flinch. "My name is Alexander Langford." Marcus could feel the shift in the air. Briggs didn't recognize it yet, but the onlookers did. Someone whispered, "Is that the tech CEO?" Briggs rolled his eyes. Return to the vehicle before you get yourself involved in something you don't understand." "I understand perfectly." Her voice stayed calm, dangerously calm. "You pulled over my driver without cause. You're detaining him without cause. And you're using language unbecoming of your badge." Briggs turned red. "No," she said. "Let him go." Marcus dared to lift his head. "Ms. Langford, maybe just call." "I don't need to call anyone," she said. "This stops now." More pedestrians gathered. Phones raised. Recording. Briggs stiffened. "I said back up." "And I said release him." Briggsy's jaw twitched. He stepped forward and snapped handcuffs around Marcus's wrists. "Officer." Langford snapped. "This is unlawful." Marcus felt the metal bite into his skin. Shame washed over him. The humiliation. The helplessness, the sting of being treated as less than in front of a crowd. Briggs said coldly, "I'm placing him under arrest for resisting." But he didn't resist. "That's my report, not yours." Marcus's voice cracked. "Please, don't make this worse." Ms. Langford stared at Briggs, fire behind her calm expression. "You just made the biggest mistake of your career." Briggs scoffed. "Lady, I doubt that." But his eyes flickered, just for a second, when one of the bystanders zoomed in with their phone. Marcus bowed his head as Briggs pushed him toward the patrol car. The shame was crushing, and the night was only beginning. Marcus sat stiffly in the back of the patrol car, wrist-bound, trying to breathe through the tightness in his chest. The interior smelled like old vinyl and cold metal, sterile, claustrophobic. Through the glass, he saw Ms. Langford pacing near the curb, phone in hand, jaw set like iron. Officer Briggs slammed the door shut and walked back toward her. He said sharply, "I asked you to step away from the vehicle." "No," she replied without looking up. "I told you, he works for me." Briggs scoffed. "You think saying that is going to change anything? I've got procedures." "What procedure requires profiling my driver?" she asked. "I watched you escalate without cause." "You watch me do my job." "No," she said calmly. "I watch you abuse your authority." Briggs bristled. "Lady, you don't know anything about authority." Her eyes lifted slowly, quiet, surgical. "I run a company with 800 employees. I negotiate with global partners, senators, and investment boards. Spare me the lecture on authority." That hit him. His nostrils flared slightly. "So you're really sticking with this story," Briggs said. "That is your driver." "It's not a story. It's a fact." She tapped the phone. "And I've already contacted my chief legal officer." Briggs barked a laugh. "Sure you did." A man standing nearby muttered, "Bro, that's Alexander Langford." Another whispered, "Briggs is done." Briggs whirled around. "Everyone back off unless you want to be detained too." But the phone stayed up. Several recorded openly. Marcus leaned his head against the seat, throat tight. "Please," he said softly through the cracked window. "Ms. Langford, don't get yourself arrested too. Just go home." She ignored him. "Officer Briggs, what precinct are you assigned to?" "Why?" he snapped. "So my attorneys know exactly where to send documentation." His jaw clicked shut for half a second. "Stop threatening me." "I'm not threatening you," she said. "I'm holding you accountable." "Same thing." She exhaled slowly. "Unfortunate you see it that way." Briggs stepped closer, voice low. "Look, you seem like a smart woman. Don't push this. This guy," he jabbed a thumb toward Marcus, "is acting suspicious. We have reports." "You have nothing," she cut in. You never even asked for his ID. You never checked his registration. You never allowed him to speak. I don't need to, he said. He fits. A description, she finished for him. Yes, I heard. The silence hit like a slap. Briggs shifted his weight. You're starting to interfere with a lawful arrest. You keep using that word, she said coolly, but nothing you've done is lawful. Briggsy's voice rose. Step back now. No. Their standoff drew even more attention. A middle-aged man in a brown jacket approached Langford quietly. He whispered, That officer, he has a history. Complaints. They never stick. Langford's expression didn't change, but her grip tightened around her phone. Thank you, she said. Briggs snapped. Hey, you got something to say. Say it to me. The man backed up. I'm good. Marcus closed his eyes, guilt swelling in his chest. None of this was supposed to happen. Not tonight. Not ever. Officer, he said from inside the car, voice trembling, please just listen. I'm not resisting. I'm not arguing. I'm just trying to do my job. Briggs turned toward him. Your job is being suspicious near closed businesses. That's how it looks. How it looks to you, Marcus said quietly. Briggsy's jaw tightened. What's your tone? Ms. Langford stepped closer. Oh, what? You'll add another charge? Interference? Resisting? Loitering? Failure to breathe politely. The sarcasm sliced through the air. Lady, Briggs growled, You're pushing it. No, she said. You pushed first. She pressed a button on her phone. You are now on speaker with my legal team. Briggs blinked. What? A crisp voice came through. Ms. Langford, we're ready. Briggs laughed nervously. Okay, that's cute. It's real, she replied. And every word you speak from this moment forward is being documented. Briggsy's smugness wavered. Marcus watched the shift, small but visible. A crack. Langford folded her arms. Release him. Can't. Briggs swallowed. He's already under arrest. For what? She demanded. Briggs hesitated. Suspicious activity. That's not a charge. Failure to comply. He complied immediately. Briggsy's ears reddened. Resisting. He didn't move. She leaned in closer. Try again. Briggs glanced around. The crowd. The cameras. The murmurs. Marcus saw the panic creeping in behind his eyes. Then Briggs muttered, He's coming to the station. If you want him out, follow protocol. Langford's eyes hardened. Fine. But understand this. Your career changed the second you laid hands on him. Briggs opened the driver's door of the patrol car. We'll see about that. As he started the engine, Marcus caught Ms. Langford's gaze through the glass. She mouthed one promise. I'm not letting this go. The car pulled away. The crowd's phone still raised, capturing the moment Officer Carson Briggs's downfall quietly began. Marcus sat stone still as a patrol car rolled through the city, each passing streetlight flashing across his face like an indictment. His wrists throbbed where the cuffs pressed too tight. He tried to breathe slowly, but every inhale felt like a reminder of the hood of the car against his cheek. Briggs didn't say a word as he drove, jaw clenched, fingers tight around the steering wheel. Only the crackle of the police radio broke the silence. Marcus shifted slightly. Officer, can you loosen the cuffs? They're cutting into my skin. No, Briggs snapped. Should have complied faster. I complied the moment you asked. Sure you did. Marcus lowered his gaze. Don't escalate. Just get through it. Survive the night. In the distance, he saw the black sedan following them. Ms. Langford's headlights remained steady, unwavering. That gave him a crumb of strength. Briggs noticed, too. Your friend's still tailing us? Cute. She thinks she's doing something. She's my employer, Marcus murmured. Keep telling yourself that. They reached the precinct, a squat, gray building that looked tired even at night. Briggs parked roughly, yanked the door open, and pulled Marcus out as if dragging luggage. Inside, the fluorescent lighting bleached all warmth from the room. Two officers behind the desk looked up. Briggs spoke first. Suspicious individual caught near closed businesses. Possible casing. Marcus opened his mouth. That's not. Briggs pressed a hand against his back. Quiet. One of the desk officers, a blond man with a coffee cup, raised a brow. Paperwork. I'll file it after intake. The officer nodded automatically. No skepticism, no hesitation. The system moved like a machine that had long stopped needing truth to function. Briggs steered Marcus toward a bench. Sit. Marcus obeyed. His hands shook. Officer, please. I didn't do anything. You were in the wrong place, Briggs muttered, scribbling on a clipboard and acting nervous. Nervous? Marcus blinked. You pulled me out of the car before I could even. One more word, Briggs warned, and I'll add disorderly conduct. Marcus bit down fear and humiliation. The precinct door opened behind them. He didn't need to turn to know who it was. Officer Briggs. Langford's voice echoed sharply. Briggs stiffened. You can wait in the lobby. No, she said. I'm standing right here. Other officers paused mid-step. Several recognized her immediately. The straight spine, the unwavering tone, the face from news features and leadership panels. The desk officer whispered, That's Langford Innovations, right? The CEO. Briggs ignored him. This is a restricted area. I'm aware, she said, and I've spoken with my attorneys. They are en route, and so is a council member. Briggsy's smirk faltered. You think anyone's gonna care about some suspicious loiterer? Driver, she corrected coldly. My driver. A supervisor approached, a graying man with reading glasses hanging from his collar. Ms. Langford, I'm Captain Hale. Let's step aside. No, she repeated. Not until Marcus is released. Captain Hale set his jaw. He was detained on reasonable suspicion. What suspicion? She demanded. Walking while black? Sitting in a legally owned vehicle? Obeying every instruction. Don't patronize me, Captain. Hale exhaled, posture tightening. We'll sort this out, but he has to be processed first. No, Langford said. He doesn't. Not when the arrest itself was unlawful. Briggs stepped between them. Captain, the guy was lurking around. He was helping me prepare for a meeting, Langford snapped. I was in the backseat, behind tinted glass. He never left my sight. Hale's eyes flickered. Recognition, then discomfort. You were in the car? Yes, watching every second. Briggs scoffed loudly. Yeah, right. Hale frowned at him. Briggs, step into my office. Briggs stiffened. Captain. Now. The captain disappeared into the office without looking back. Briggs shot a glare at Marcus, then followed reluctantly. Langford approached Marcus. Are you hurt? Marcus shook his head, though the ache in his wrist screamed otherwise. I'm okay. I just want to go home. You will, she said softly. Tonight. A young officer hesitated nearby. Protocol says he has to be placed in a holding room until the captain. Protocol, she said, does not override the Constitution. The young officer swallowed, clearly unsure whether to argue. Minutes ticked by. Briggs's muffled voice echoed faintly from the office, angry, defensive. Hale's deeper voice was calmer but stern. Finally, the door opened. Hale stepped out alone. Ms. Langford, he said, you'll need to file official request for all footage. Until then, we can't release anything. I didn't ask for footage, she said. I asked for my employee. Hale sighed. We can release impending review, but the charges will be dropped, she said. Hale hesitated. We'll discuss that with the DA. Langford didn't break eye contact. Do that. Hale gestured to the young officer. Take off the cuffs. The officer hurried forward. Yes, sir. Marcus felt the pressure finally release. Pins and needles shot through his hands. He inhaled shakily. Langford placed a steady hand on his shoulder. Let's go home. As they walked toward the exit, Briggs stood inside the office doorway, watching, jaw tight, eyes burning. Langford met his glare with one icy sentence. This isn't over. Captain Hale led Marcus and Ms. Langford into a cramped conference room. Stale air, humming fluorescent lights, a table that looked like it had survived 3 decades of budget cuts. The door clicked shut behind them. Let's talk calmly, Hale said, lowering himself into a chair. Tensions are high. Langford stayed standing. Marcus should never have been detained. Let's start with that. Hale held up both hands. We're reviewing the situation. Marcus sat quietly, rubbing his wrists. They still pulsed from the cuffs. Sir, he said gently, I told Officer Briggs who I work for. I told him everything. He didn't want to hear it. Officers have to make quick judgments, Hale replied carefully. Sometimes the situation isn't clear. Langford turned sharply. Nothing was unclear. He made it clear what he saw Marcus as. Hale flinched. Ms. Langford. No, she said, voice cold and controlled. Let's not pretend this is complicated. He saw a black man in a nice car and decided he must be guilty. Silence. Hale cleared his throat, then pulled up a laptop. We're pulling the dash cam footage now. Body cam too. Good, Langford said. Let's see it. Hale clicked through files until a grainy video appeared. The dash cam captured the stop, Briggs approaching the driver's side, flashlight raised. But from the moment Marcus stepped out, Briggs positioned himself between the camera and Marcus. The worst moments, the shove, the tone, the comment, were obscured. Conveniently, Langford's eyes narrowed. Move the timeline. Hale dragged the cursor. The audio crackled. Briggs's voice came through. Hands on the hood. Marcus's voice followed, calm but tense. Officer, I'm cooperating. Then the scrape, metal against skin. Marcus forced onto the hood. But the camera didn't catch the force. Just sound. Hale paused the video. As you can see, the footage is limited. Limited, Langford repeated. Or obstructed. Officer Briggs may not have realized where the camera was positioned, Hale said carefully. Langford leaned over the table. Captain, I reviewed enough investigations to know when someone is hiding behind angles. Marcus swallowed hard. Hearing himself in the audio made his stomach twist. Sir, he pushed me before I could finish a sentence. Hale nodded slowly. We hear your concern. No, Langford said, you hear evidence. Hale closed the laptop. Until proper paperwork is filed, I can't release additional footage. Internal policy. Marcus frowned. So, he just gets away with it. Hale hesitated. We didn't say that. But you didn't say anything else either, Langford replied. The door opened. A young officer stuck her head in. Captain, his legal team is here. Langford turned. Good. Send them in. Hale's face tightened. Ms. Langford. You wanted paperwork, she said. They'll bring paperwork. Footsteps approached, the sound of expensive shoes and calm authority. 2 attorneys entered, carrying briefcases and tablets. One nodded politely. We're here to request all footage, internal notes, and officer statements. Officially. Hale didn't hide his annoyance. These things take time. We'll wait, the attorney replied. Marcus looked between them, heart pounding. This wasn't his world. Lawyers, CEOs, internal investigations. He was just trying to do his job. Langford noticed his expression and gently touched his arm. Marcus, take a breath. We're with you. He nodded, though his throat felt tight. Thank you. The second attorney opened the folder. We also want to file a formal complaint against Officer Briggs. Immediate suspension pending review. Hale stiffened. That's not how it works. It's exactly how it works, the attorney said, when misconduct is caught on camera. Partially caught, Hale corrected defensively. Langford stepped in front of Marcus. Captain Hale, let me be absolutely clear. This will not be buried. Not by policy loopholes, not by camera angles, not by internal politics. Hale exhaled sharply. Ms. Langford, the department will handle this professionally. Professionally, she repeated. Your officer profiled my driver, assaulted him, ignored my identification, and lied in his report. If this is professional, then you should be terrified of what unprofessional looks like." Hale's jaw clenched. Langford continued, "I will personally update the city council about this, and the mayor, and our enterprise partners, and the board." Those words landed like weights dropped onto the table. Hale didn't speak immediately. The tension in the room stretched into a tight wire. Finally, he murmured, "We'll expedite the review." Langford gave a curt nod. "Good." Marcus watched her, or mixing with gratitude. He'd never seen someone stand so fiercely, especially for him. As they left the room, Hale remained frozen in his seat, the laptop closed in front of him like a shield. For the first time since the stop, Marcus realized something. Briggs wasn't the only one who looked shaken. The system around him was starting to crack. By morning, Marcus's phone buzzed nonstop. Texts, missed calls, message previews from numbers he didn't recognize. But he kept the device face down on his kitchen counter and stood in silence, hands wrapped around a mug he wasn't drinking from. He hadn't slept. Not really. He'd spent the night replaying the moment his cheek hit the hood, the coldness of the metal, the crowd watching. His daughter, Maya, still sleeping in her room, had no idea why he'd crept in at 3 a.m. just to sit beside her, watching her breathe. A knock sounded at the door. He jumped. "It's me," Langford's voice called gently. Marcus opened the door. She wasn't in her corporate armor today. Simple coat, hair tied back, expression warm but tired. "I didn't want to barge in," she said softly, "but I thought you might need this." She held up a paper bag. "Breakfast." Marcus exhaled. "You didn't have to come." "Actually," she said, stepping inside, "I did." He set the bag on the counter and rubbed his face. "I feel like everyone saw me break last night." "You didn't break," she said. "You survived something you shouldn't have had to." Marcus sank into a chair. It felt like I wasn't even a person, like he'd already decided what I was. Langford nodded. "He did." The phone buzzed again. Marcus ignored it. "You should look at that," she said. "I can't. Not yet." "Marcus." She pushed the phone gently toward him. "This isn't just between you and Briggs in the mall." He hesitated, then turned it over. The first notification froze his breath. A video, shared 42,000 times. Caption, "Officer slams innocent man during baseless stop." Marcus clicked. The clip, shaky but clear, showed him stepping out, hands raised. Showed Briggs grabbing him. Showed the hood. Showed the tension. The audio was muffled, but the tone, the hostility, people didn't need perfect sound to understand what they were watching. The comments scrolled endlessly. Typical. Another one? Jesus. Fire him now. Why was he pulled over in the first place? This happens every day. Only difference is someone recorded it. Marcus stared. This is everywhere. Langford nodded. I woke up to 3 news outlets calling my assistant. It's spreading fast. He swallowed. But why would people care? She looked at him squarely. Because they saw what I saw. He shook his head. I don't want to be some headline. I just want this to go away. It won't, she said softly. Not now, and not in a bad way. The phone buzzed again, this time with a contact he recognized. His friend, David. Marcus answered shakily. Hey. Man, David said immediately. You okay? I saw the video. Bro, that cop is finished. I'm fine, Marcus lied. Your face didn't look fine in that video. Marcus closed his eyes. I don't want to talk about it. Then just listen, David said. You didn't deserve that, and people know it. Marcus hung up gently, heart pounding. Langford opened her tablet. We release an official statement this morning. Marcus blinked. We. Langford Innovations, she clarified. Under my signature. He stared at her. Why would you put your company into this? Because I was there. Because you're my employee. Because what happened was wrong. And because silence protects the wrong people. Marcus's throat tightened. What did the statement say? That last night's arrest was a textbook case of racial profiling, she replied. That we witnessed misconduct, and that we're cooperating with legal counsel. His lungs froze. You said it publicly. Yes. Ms. Langford, people might come after you for that. She shrugged. Let them. He didn't know what to say. Her courage felt bigger than the room. A ping sounded on her tablet. Urgent news. She read it. Her eyebrow arched. Reporters are surrounding the precinct. Because of me. Marcus whispered. Because of the officer, she corrected. Your story just gave them a direction. Marcus sank back. I don't want trouble. You didn't cause trouble, she said. Briggs did. He exhaled shakily. What happens now? Now, she said, you let us handle the rest. You take care of yourself. And your daughter. As if summoned, Maya's small footsteps padded into the kitchen doorway. She rubbed her eyes sleepily. Daddy, why are you home? I thought you had work. Marcus froze. His voice cracked. Hey, baby, come here. She climbed into his lap, hugging him tightly. Are you okay? He swallowed. Yeah, baby, I'm okay. Langford watched quietly, eyes softening. Maya looked at her. Who's she? A friend, Marcus said. Langford knelt beside them. Hi, Maya. I'm Alexandra. Maya nodded shyly. Langford stood and picked up her coat. Marcus, call me if you need anything. Anything at all. He nodded. Thank you. As she left, Maya whispered, Daddy, why are people calling your phone? Marcus looked at the screen, still buzzing with notifications, comments, interviews, offers. He hugged her tighter. Something happened, he said softly, but I'm home now. And as the morning light spilled through the window, Marcus knew one thing. Nothing about his life would ever be simple again. By afternoon, the city felt like it was humming with tension. Everywhere Marcus turned, TV screens in shop windows, phone notifications, people whispering outside cafes. The story had taken on a life of its own. He sat on his couch, elbows on his knees, Maya drawing quietly on the rug beside him. Every siren in the distance made his shoulder tense. A news anchor's voice drifted through the living room. The viral video of last night's controversial arrest is sparking outrage across the city. The police department has released a brief statement saying the officer followed protocol. However, inconsistencies in the arrest report have already raised questions. Marcus muted the TV immediately. I don't want her hearing this, he murmured. Maya looked up. Hearing what? Nothing, baby, he said, forcing a smile. There was a knock on the door. His chest tightened, but it was only David. Bro, David said, stepping inside. Is this really happening? You're everywhere. The mayor's office is getting involved. Marcus rubbed his forehead. I didn't ask for any of this. You didn't have to. They brought it to you. Marcus sank back onto the couch. I just want to breathe without feeling like my life is exploding. David sat beside him. Then breathe. Let the people who know how to fight, fight. Marcus sighed. I don't want to be the reason someone gets fired. He didn't lose his job, David said firmly. He owned whatever's coming. Before Marcus could reply, his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Mr. Reed, this is the mayor's office. We're requesting a brief call regarding yesterday's incident. Marcus blinked. The mayor wants to talk. David whistled. That's big. Marcus didn't respond. His hands began to tremble. Hey, David said gently, gripping his shoulder. Breathe, man. You're not alone. Across the city, in a much different room, Officer Briggs sat hunched in a metal chair at the precinct, staring at his union representative. This is getting blown out of proportion, Briggs muttered. I didn't do anything wrong. The union rep exhaled. You used force on someone who wasn't resisting. Because he looked suspicious. Suspicious, the rep repeated, is vague, and vague doesn't survive public scrutiny, especially not after what you said. Briggsy's jaw tensed. I didn't say anything wrong. You called him you people. It's on audio. Briggs froze. That wasn't. I didn't mean it like. It doesn't matter how you meant it. It matters how it sounds. Briggs looked away. The walls felt like they were closing in. They are trying to ruin my life. No, the rep corrected softly. You did that part yourself. Meanwhile, at City Hall, Langford stood before a long table of council members and the police chief. This cannot be brushed aside, she said, voice cold enough to quiet the entire room. Your officer profiled my employee. He escalated without cause, and his report contradicts video evidence. Chief Donnelly adjusted his tie. Ms. Langford, we understand your frustration. No, she interrupted. You don't, because if you did, you wouldn't hide behind statements about protocol. A councilwoman cleared her throat. We're asking the department to cooperate fully. The public response is overwhelming. Langford nodded. Good. Then cooperate. Another council member muttered, We'll need to be careful. The union. Langford cut in sharply. The union doesn't outrank the truth. At that moment, the chief's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, his expression tightening. The district attorney wants the body cam footage. All of it. Langford's eyes sharpened. Then give it to her. Back in Marcus's apartment, his phone buzzed again. It was Langford. He answered quickly. Ms. Langford. How are you holding up? She asked. I'm managing. You don't sound okay. Marcus hesitated. I can't walk past a window without feeling like someone's watching. Every siren makes me think Briggs is coming to arrest me again. You're safe, she said gently, and I'm not leaving this alone. City Hall is taking action. He swallowed. Ms. Langford, can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you doing all this? You could have stepped back. Yes, I could have, she said quietly, but then I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror. Marcus, this isn't about charity. It's justice. Her words steadied something inside him, something that had felt fractured since last night. Thank you, he said. Get some rest, she replied. Tomorrow will be a long day. As the call ended, Marcus looked at Maya, drawing a bright blue sky with a red crayon. Daddy, she said, are you okay? He forced a smile. I will be. Outside, the city buzzed with outrage, interviews, statements, accusations. Inside, Marcus sat quietly, fighting to steady his breath. Both battles were happening at once, and neither of them were close to over. The municipal review building smelled like disinfectant and nervous sweat. Long hallways, pale walls, chairs lined up in neat rows, everything built to feel sterile, neutral. But nothing about today was neutral. Marcus sat beside Langford outside the hearing chamber, his hands clasped so tightly his knuckles were white. He kept trying to breathe in slowly, but every inhale trembled. You don't have to speak if you're not ready, Langford murmured. He stared at the floor. I need to. If I don't, it'll feel like I'm letting him win. She nodded. Then I'm right here. The door opened. A woman in a navy blazer called out, Ms. Langford, Mr. Reed, the board is ready. Marcus rose on unsteady legs. Inside, a long U-shaped table of officials watched him with politely blank expressions. Their nameplates gleamed. Internal Review Board, Civil Oversight Committee, Legal Counsel for the City, Union Representatives. Microphones dotted the table like little black eyes. Officer Briggs sat at a smaller table on the opposite side of the room. His uniform was crisp, but his face was tight, his jaw clenched. His union rep sat beside him, whispering something Marcus couldn't hear. Marcus avoided looking at the man. His stomach turned every time Briggs shifted in his seat. The chairwoman cleared her throat. We are reviewing the arrest of Marcus Reed by Officer Carson Briggs. We will begin with statements. Ms. Langford. Langford stepped forward with the calmness of someone who'd been preparing every syllable for days. I was present during the entire incident, she began. I watched Officer Briggs order my driver out of my vehicle without cause. I watched him escalate despite immediate compliance. And I watched him force Mr. Reed onto the hood of the car while shouting accusations that were baseless and racially charged. Briggs scoffed loudly. Langford didn't look at him. I am not here as a CEO. I'm here as a witness to an abuse of authority. The chairwoman nodded. Thank you. Mr. Reed, when you're ready. Marcus stood. His knees felt hollow. He swallowed, his voice slightly cracking. I was scared. The room stilled. I've been pulled over before, he continued. I've been questioned before. But this time, I felt like nothing I said mattered. He didn't see me. He saw something he already believed I was. Briggs shifted in his seat, arms crossed. Marcus kept speaking. I told him who I worked for. I tried to explain. I kept my hands up. I didn't argue. But he shoved me. Hard. I felt my face hit the hood. People were watching, recording, and all I could think was, please don't let my daughter lose me over misunderstanding. His voice shook. He forced himself not to look away from the board. I wasn't a threat. I wasn't resisting. I was just trying to do my job. A moment of heavy silence followed. The chairwoman nodded gently. Thank you, Mr. Reed. She then turned her gaze toward Briggs. Officer Briggs, your statement. Briggsy's jaw flexed as he stood. Look, I followed protocol. He was acting suspicious. Langford muttered under her breath. Here we go. Briggs continued, voice rising. He was lingering in a closed business district. He refused to answer questions clearly. I answered every question you asked, Marcus said softly. Briggs ignored him, and the woman, Ms. Langford, interfered with the arrest. Langford slowly raised an eyebrow. The board exchanged glances. Briggsy's union rep nudged him subtly, as if warning him to slow down. But Briggs doubled down. He resisted when I tried to detain him. The chairwoman held up a finger. Before we proceed further, we will review body cam footage. Briggs stiffened. The room's lights dimmed slightly as a screen lowered. A technician clicked play. The video began. Marcus exiting the car with raised hands. Briggs stepping in aggressively, his flashlight sweeping inches from Marcus's face. Then the shove. The impact. The metallic clank of Marcus's body hitting the hood. Marcus's stomach twisted watching himself in pain. Briggs leaned toward his rep. The angle's bad. It doesn't show everything. Quiet. The rep hissed. The audio crackled, faint under the wind. Briggsy's voice snarled through the speakers. You people always have an excuse. Gasps rippled through the room. Langford folded her arms, expression stone-cold vindicated. Marcus closed his eyes. Hearing it played publicly made his legs weak. Briggs hurried to defend himself. That was taken out of context. There is no context, Langford said sharply. It is exactly what it sounds like. Briggsy's face reddened. You're twisting my words. The chairwoman leaned forward. Officer Briggs, the footage contradicts key elements of your report. It doesn't contradict. Your report states Mr. Reed resisted. The footage shows no resistance. Briggsy's voice rose. He was suspicious. Suspicion, the chairwoman said firmly, is not justification for misconduct. Briggsy's breath quickened. This is a setup. Union representatives exchanged worried glances. The chairwoman looked around the table. We will now vote on immediate disciplinary action pending further investigation, including potential termination. Briggs slammed his hand on the table. You can't do this. Langford spoke softly, almost gently. Carson, they already did. Briggsy's chest heaved. His facade cracked completely. Marcus felt a strange mixture of fear, relief, and lingering ache. Justice wasn't victory. It was weight. Heavy, necessary weight. As the board members raised their hands one by one, Briggs sagged back in his chair. When the vote was done, the chairwoman announced, Officer Briggs is hereby suspended effective immediately. Briggs stared blankly, eyes unfocused. Langford placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. It's not the end, she whispered, but it's a start. Marcus nodded slowly, heart pounding, breath shaky. For the first time since the night of the arrest, he felt the pressure on his chest begin to lift. Officer Briggs stood outside the precinct 3 days after the hearing, staring at a folded termination notice in his hands. His badge had been taken an hour earlier. His access card didn't beep against the scanner anymore. The department's glass doors reflected a man who suddenly wasn't a part of anything. His union rep walked out behind him. "Carson, I'm sorry." We pushed, but the DA's moving fast. Briggs didn't turn around. "They're charging me. Falsifying a report. Unlawful detainment. Official misconduct." Briggs let out a humorless breath. "Great. You should get a lawyer," the rep said quietly. Briggs didn't answer. He just stared at the building he thought would shield him forever, until it didn't. Across town, Marcus sat in the office of a therapist Wrongful had arranged for him. The room was warm, decorated with soft textures that felt like safety. "How have you been sleeping?" the therapist asked gently. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. "I keep hearing it. His voice. That tone. The racial slur." Marcus swallowed. "Yeah, it wasn't even loud, but it was enough." "Do you feel safe right now?" she asked. Marcus hesitated. "I want to, but when a patrol car drives by, even if they're not looking at me, my chest gets tight. I feel like I'm back there." "That's a trauma response," she said. "It will take time." He nodded slowly. The therapist waited a moment. "Marcus, this wasn't your fault." He looked up, eyes glassy. "I know, but saying it and believing it are different." Meanwhile, Langford walked into a conference room filled with her legal team. Screens displayed timelines, statements, and media charts. A lawyer gestured toward a graph. "Public support is high. People are demanding departmental reform. Journalists want interviews." Langford folded her arms. "Our focus stays on Marcus, not publicity." "Of course," the lawyer said, "but this is becoming a citywide conversation." "Then we make it a productive one," she replied. Another attorney added, "The DA contacted us. She's reviewing the entire precinct's handling of racial bias complaints." Langford nodded. "Good." That evening, Marcus returned home to find Langford waiting outside his building, leaning against a car. "You didn't have to come here," he said. She smiled softly. "I know, but I wanted to check on you. In person." He let out a breath. "It's been a day." "I heard," she said. "Briggs was fired." Marcus sank onto the stoop. "I don't feel happy. Should I feel happy?" "No," she said gently. "Accountability isn't joy. It's relief, and sometimes even that feels strange." He stared at the pavement. He looked at me like I wasn't even a person. "He was wrong," she said firmly. A silence stretched, gentle, heavy, real. "You're not going back to work yet," Langford added. "I've put you on paid leave. Take time. Heal." Marcus blinked. "Ms. Langford, I can't let you." "Marcus," she said, sitting beside him, "you protected me for years. Let me protect you now." He nodded, eyes burning. Maya peeked through the lobby door. "Daddy, is that your boss?" Langford smiled. "Hi, Maya. Are you helping my daddy?" Maya asked innocently. Langford's voice softened. "I'm trying my best." The next day, the community center held an open forum. Chairs filled quickly. Pastors, activists, local business owners, and families gathered to talk about policing, safety, and equity. Marcus sat quietly in the second row. When he was eventually invited to speak, he stood slowly. "I never wanted attention," he said. "I never wanted to be on TV or in videos. I just wanted to do my job. But that night, I learned how quickly someone can decide you're a threat, how quickly your life can be twisted into a story that isn't true." He paused, voice catching. "And I'm grateful that someone believed me, that someone stood up for me. But not everyone has a Ms. Langford. Some people get hurt. Some don't make it home." A hush swept the room. "I want things to change," Marcus finished softly. "Not just for me, but for my daughter." Langford, seated in the front row, discreetly wiped a tear. The forum ended with applause, gentle, respectful, heartfelt. Across the city, Briggs sat alone in his dark apartment, bills stacked on the counter, a termination notice on the table. His phone buzzed with messages from angry officers who blamed him for making them look bad and from neighbors who had seen the news. He placed his head in his hands. Everything was fine, he whispered to the empty room. Everything was fine until him. But even he didn't sound convinced anymore. Marcus walked home from the forum with Maya holding his hand, and Langford walking beside them. The streetlights flickered softly as he breathed in the night air. For the first time in days, the weight on his chest lifted just enough for him to take a full breath. Not healed, not finished, but beginning. The night terrors started 2 days after the forum. Marcus jolted awake long before dawn, sweat soaking through his T-shirt. His heartbeat thundered against his ribs, loud enough that he pressed a hand to his chest, afraid something might be wrong. But it wasn't his heart. It was his mind replaying the same moment over and over. The slam, the cold metal, Briggs's voice. Maya stood in the next room. Marcus inhaled shakily. She can't see me like this. He splashed water on his face in the bathroom sink, gripping the edges until the trembling in his hands stopped. Later that morning, he walked Maya to school. Every time a police car rolled by, even at a distance, his shoulders tensed, his breath hitched, his palms dampened. He hated it. He hated that a single night had rewired his body's instincts. At the school gate, Maya hugged him tightly. "Daddy, you're coming to pick me up later, right?" He managed a smile. "Of course, baby, I'll be here." She ran inside, her backpack bouncing behind her, unaware of the storm still circling him. At home, Marcus sat at the dining table, staring at a cup of tea gone cold. The therapist had warned him, trauma lingers. It creeps into corners. He called his mother. She answered on the second ring. "Baby," she said, hearing his voice before the words. "You're struggling today." Marcus closed his eyes. "Yeah. You don't have to carry this alone. We raised you to survive, but not to suffer silently. I just feel broken." "You are wounded," she corrected gently. "Not broken." He let out a weak breath. "I'm trying." "I know," she said, "and I'm proud of you." That afternoon, the doorbell rang. Marcus opened it to find Langford holding 2 plastic bags. "I brought lunch," she said simply. "Ms. Langford, you don't have to keep checking on me." She lifted one brow. "If I stop checking, you'll isolate. If you isolate, you'll spiral. And then your therapist will blame me." Marcus actually laughed. Weak but real. "Come in," he said. They ate quietly at the table. After a moment, she spoke. "You don't look well today." "Rough night," he admitted. "Nightmares." He nodded. Langford's voice softened. "Marcus, you went through something traumatic. Give yourself permission to feel it." "I do," he said. "It just won't go away." "It will," she said firmly. "Slowly. Not cleanly, but it will." He swallowed. "Thank you. For everything." "You don't owe me thanks," she replied. "I owed you protection long before that officer touched you." He frowned. "Why?" "Because you protected me every day for years. Quietly, professionally, without complaint. It's time someone did the same for you." Marcus looked away, throat burning. Across the city, Briggs sat alone in his half-empty apartment. Boxes packed. Utilities overdue. Job applications unanswered. He stared at his severance envelope. It felt thinner than justice. His phone buzzed. Another angry voicemail from an officer he once called a friend. "You messed everything up, Briggs. We're all getting questioned now. Internal affairs won't leave us alone. You did this." Briggs gripped the phone until his knuckles whitened. He whispered to the empty room, "I just did my job." But the words rang hollow. Even he didn't believe them anymore. That weekend, Marcus returned to church. The choir's soft harmonies pulled him to a back pew. A few members approached quietly. "We're proud of you." "You didn't deserve that." "We're praying for your healing." Marcus nodded, unable to speak. When the choir began to sing, the tension in his chest finally cracked. Tears slid down his cheeks. Silent, heavy, but for the first time, they weren't only from fear. They were from release. Walking home afterward, the autumn breeze brushed against his face. Marcus inhaled deeply, letting the air fill every corner of his lungs. The wounds were still there. The fear was still there. But so was something else, something steadier, rooted, alive. He wasn't whole yet, but he was healing. And tomorrow he would keep going. 3 months later, the city auditorium buzzed with soft conversation, polished shoes on marble, and the rustle of programs being folded and unfolded by nervous hands. A banner hung above the stage. City recognition ceremony, courage, accountability, reform. Marcus stood backstage, adjusting the collar of his suit. His palms were warm with nerves, but today they trembled for a different reason. Not fear, but something closer to purpose. Langford stepped beside him, smoothing a wrinkle on his sleeve like a sister or friend. "You look ready." "I feel something," he admitted. "Good," she said. "That means you're alive. Not hiding. Not folding into yourself." He offered a faint smile. "I wouldn't be here without you." "Marcus," she said firmly, "you're here because you told the truth. I just made sure people heard it." A volunteer peeked backstage. 5 minutes until your segment, Mr. Reed." Marcus nodded, exhaling slowly. In the audience, Maya sat in the front row beside her grandmother, swinging her legs excitedly. "Daddy's going on stage," she whispered loudly. "Yes, he is," her grandmother said, squeezing her hand. "And he deserves to." News cameras panned across the room. Community leaders, activists, city officials, and residents filled the seats. It wasn't a celebration, it was recognition. Acknowledgement. A public step in a long path forward. As Marcus stepped onto the stage, the applause began. Steady, respectful, warm. He blinked against the lights, scanning the crowd until he found Maya. She waved, beaming. The mayor approached the microphone first. "Tonight," she said, "we acknowledge individuals who stood firm when the system failed them." Marcus Reed did not ask for attention. He did not seek conflict. But through his honesty, he exposed flaws we must confront. She stepped aside. "Marcus, the floor is yours." Marcus approached the podium, gripping its edges to steady himself. The room hushed. "Thank you," he began softly. "This still feels unreal." A quiet ripple of understanding moved through the crowd. 3 months ago, he said, "I was just driving home from work. I'm still that same person today. The only difference is that now people know what happened on that street." He looked down for a moment, gathering his breath. "I didn't speak out because I wanted revenge. I spoke out because I didn't want my daughter growing up thinking that staying silent was the only way to survive." He swallowed, voice thickening. "What happened to me is something too many people go through quietly. Some walk away, some don't. I was lucky, not because the officer stopped short of something was." He paused, letting the words settle. "But because someone was there who refused to let the truth be buried." He looked toward Langford. She dipped her head, eyes shining. Marcus continued, "This isn't about one night. It's about patterns we pretend aren't patterns. It's about the fear you learn to hide behind polite smiles and lowered voices. It's about finally saying, 'This isn't okay.' And it never was." The crowd murmured softly. A few nodded. A few wiped their eyes. "I'm not healed," he said openly. "I still wake up some nights hearing things I wish I could forget. But I'm trying. And the support I've received has shown me that healing is possible when a community refuses to look away." He looked at Maya again, her small hand waving eagerly. "And I want her to grow up safer than I did. I want her to walk in this city without inheriting my fears." He stepped back, finishing simply, "Thank you for listening." The audience rose to its feet. Applause thundered, not triumphantly, but with a weight of responsibility. After the ceremony, Marcus descended the stage. People approached, gentle handshakes, quiet affirmations, small smiles of solidarity. His therapist hugged him briefly. "You did beautifully." Langford stepped forward, offering a nod. "You spoke truth without anger. That strength most people never reach." "Thank you," he said, "for everything." "Always," she replied. At the edge of the room, Maya tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, can we get ice cream now? You were so brave." Marcus laughed, a sound lighter than it had been in months. "Ice cream sounds perfect." Meanwhile, in a quieter courtroom across the city, Briggs sat in a suit 2 sizes too big. hands folded tightly. The judge read the charges: falsifying a report, unlawful detainment, abuse of authority. Briggs didn't argue, didn't shout, didn't deflect. He sat still, staring at the floor, the weight of consequences finally settling where denial once lived. He wasn't in handcuffs, but he was no longer shielded. And for the first time, he looked genuinely small. That night, walking home with Maya's hand in his, Marcus felt the cool air around him. It moved differently now. Not without fear, but with space. Space to breathe, to heal, to hope. Poetic justice wasn't perfect. It didn't erase the past, but it cleared a path forward for Marcus, for Maya, and for anyone who would follow.